Webale ino tulinde mwene mu Baaba atyame wikonero. Baaba tukwaniriza Abasoga tuli basanufu ino, webale kuyida twali tulowooza nti bali tulimba bulimbe, aye tubaire tuli awo ng'otuuka. Abasoga b'e Makerere tusanuike Katuikiro Dr. Muvawala, webale emirimu gyona gy'okoleire Busoga ni ttiimu yona abavuire mu bwakya Bazinga cabinet n'abandi central government. Dr. Abure Kibenge tukwaniriza Abasoga b'e Makerere tusanuike. Nze ninza Antony Mugere Buyinza, head of department sociology and anthropology. Tujja kubyongeranga in the interest of time. Ndikwenda okweta convener era omukulu w'omukolo guno omuteekesi omukulu, the head of the Department of African Languages, Dr. Gilbert Tumoshabe. Idotuwa obugambo bayaniriza abagenyi baife.
The guest of honor, Your Majesty William Gavana Diop for the Chavazinga of Obusoga Kingdom, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development, Mr. Aguri David Chibenge, the Prime Minister of Obusoga and Executive Director, National Planning Authority, Dr. Muvawala, the Executive Director of KCCA, Hajat Sharifa Buzeki, the Deputy Executive Director of KCCA, Abarangela the princesses. The Vice Chancellor, Makerere University, the Deputy Vice Chancellor is present, the University Secretary, Mr. Yusuf Chalanda, the Academic Registrar, Professor Mukadas Buyinza, the Principal Chus, Professor Helen Nambarirwa Nkabara, and all principals present, the Dean of Students, Dr. Win Kabumburi, the heads present here, academic staff, administrative staff, the students, especially Basoga Sete group, ladies and gentlemen. Today we gather to celebrate Mother Language Day under the theme Languages Matter, harnessing technology to document and develop Uganda's indigenous languages. But before you go further, the guest of honor, allow me to first introduce some key people that have made this day wonderful. I wish first of all to recognize the organizing committee led by Dr. Frida Kachemererwe. Stand up for recognition. Those you see with officials, something similar to this, are the people that have made today. The heads of department from the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, present. Do we have any here? Yes, there is Dr. Kanakuria. The deans around, we have the Dean School of Languages, Literature and Communication, represented by Dr. Ivan Naburia. The members of members of the School of Languages, Literature and Communication present, please stand up for recognition. The members of the parent department, Department of African Languages, those who are here who are not engaged in any activity, please stand up for recognition. Members of Obusoga Sete, please stand up and give Karuru. Obusoga Sete. Guest of honor, on behalf of the Department of African Languages, the School of Languages, Literature and Communication, and the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, and on my own behalf, I warmly welcome you, our esteemed guest of honor, and all invited guests. Thank you for joining us as we mark this important occasion. A round of applause. The Department of African Languages, in collaboration with the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, is proud to join the world in commemorating International Mother Language Day. This annual global event, observed on 21st of February, raises awareness about linguistic and cultural diversity while promoting multilingualism. Established by UNESCO in 1999, and formally recognized by the United Nations in 2002, International Mother Language Day aims to promote the preservation and protection of all languages worldwide. This year, our celebration is held today to accommodate the university's calendar and maximize participation, because tomorrow is a Saturday. Background. Today's celebration showcases Makerere University's achievements in mother language education and creates a platform for dialogue among national scholars and stakeholders. We are privileged to have researchers, cultural leaders, educators, publishers, policymakers, translators, and interpreters present to address critical issues in language education, cultural preservation, and technological innovation. As will be elaborated by our keynote speaker, language is a vital resource for the generation of knowledge and the advancement of society. Promoting, preserving, and protecting Uganda's languages and culture is not just a mandate for our department, it is the core of our existence. With over 40 indigenous languages, Uganda's multilingualism and cultural diversity are precious assets for social, political, economic, and societal transformation. Our guest of honor, the Department of African Languages was born out of the Institute of Languages in 2012, which itself evolved from the Department of Languages in 1994, and has been the cornerstone for teaching and researching Uganda's indigenous languages. This journey began in 1976 with the introduction of Luganda, thanks to the pioneering work of the late Professor Livingstone Walusimbi. The 1990s saw the addition of Runyachitara, a cluster of Runyoro Rutoro and Runyankore Ruchiga, led by distinguished scholars present here today, that is Professor Oswald Ndoreire, stand up for recognition, Mrs. Share Byakutaga, and myself as one of the second pioneers of the language. And the introduction of Rural Language Cluster in 1997. Recent years have seen further expansion. In 2024 academic year, Lusoga, was added to our language menu, and we shall be honored later as we launch it. Ateso is the most recent addition that will come its first intake this year, with the Emoromoro of Ateso generously offering 15 annual scholarships for undergraduate and 1 scholarship for masters. Curriculum development continues for Barati and Ramasaba, with implementation anticipated within 2 years. Our aim is to ensure that every language taught and examined at secondary level is also represented at Makerere University. Kiswahili, introduced in the early 1960s, remain a vital part of our curriculum. The introduction and expansion of these languages have greatly contributed to capacity building in schools, media, publishing, translation, interpreting, and the public sector at large. At the graduate level, we offer master's degree in African languages and have developed specialized curricula for Kiswahili, Luganda, and Nyashtara. These new programs have been approved by Senate and await University Council's endorsement. This progress reflects our commitment to academic excellence and language preservation. Challenges and the role of technology. Despite these achievements, significant challenges remain. While local languages have the most to gain from new technologies, resources for their development are scarce. There is notable technological gap between English and Uganda's indigenous languages, some of which are at risk of digital extinction. Addressing this gap requires policies that promote technological development for all Ugandan languages, particularly those that are less resourced. The enhanced indigenous languages in this era of rapid technological advancement, we must take collective responsibility for their preservation. Globally, efforts exist to promote mother tongue, but resources are often limited. In Uganda, 6 major languages currently benefit from the strong educational platform taught from Senior 1 to Senior 6 and examined nationally. However, universities still face challenges such as limited teaching materials in local languages. Smaller minority languages, often overlooked due to their size, require focused attention and support. While organizations like the Summer Institute of Linguistics have developed orthographies for some, foundational materials such as dictionaries remain scarce. In the digital age, both minority and major languages risk being left behind unless we make targeted investments in their development. It is crucial for us as Ugandans to champion our own languages through the training of linguists and creation of digital and print resources. Publishers such as Fountain Publishers and Makerere University Press have made commendable contributions, but there is the need for broader inclusion of smaller languages. The Ugandan Literature Bureau recently revitalized also plays an important role. The Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development is encouraged to establish a dedicated unit to coordinate with universities and other stakeholders advocating for social resources such as computers and language software to support language preservation and promotion. Gratitude. Our guest of honor, on behalf of the department, the School of Languages, Literature and Communication, and the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, I extend our sincere thanks to you, our guest of honor. Your contribution to promotion and preservation of Olusoga language is invaluable. Today, as we launch the teaching of Olusoga at Makerere University, we take an important step in opening up this language to broader academic and public recognition. Many schools may not yet realize that Olusoga is now among the subjects offered here, making today's launch especially significant. I would like to express my gratitude to Makerere University, led by our Vice Chancellor, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe, for steadfast support in promoting local languages. The University Council has been instrumental in encouraging the teaching of indigenous languages, ensuring our heritage and knowledge are preserved. Special thanks go to the University Secretary, Mr. Yusuf Charanda, for his invaluable coordination and financial support. From the word go, literature and assured me to do everything possible to make this day successful, and indeed it is successful. Without his input, we would not be as successful as we are. The principle of choose, Professor Eren Nambalirwa Nkabara, has ensured that we are comfortable up to end. More is yet to come at the end of this function, courtesy of yourself, Professor. Your support cannot be taken for granted. The Dean, School of Languages, Literature and Communication, Professor Sauda Namiaro, who is not present today, but represented by Dr. Nabulia. Thanks for your leadership, commitment, and financial support from the Center for Language and Communication Services. The Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, I can't thank you enough. You came in at the right moment when the budget was experiencing serious shortages. Thank you so much. I extend appreciation to our exhibitors, Makerere University Press, Fountain Publishers, Samai Institute of Linguistics, among others, whose work has made a significant impact on the promotion and preservation of our languages. The organizing committee, led by Dr. Frida Katshemerwe, has worked tirelessly since September 2025 to ensure the success of this event. The academic registrar, Professor Buyinza, you have to be thanked, because if we had not had Obusoga approved, I don't know where we would be. Your support and ensuring that Obusoga's curriculum is approved is highly commendable. To the members of the Department of African Languages, the school, your dedication and resilience are the backbone of our achievements. As I conclude, with continued support from Makerere University and our partners, we remain steadfast in our mission to preserve and promote Uganda's mother languages, with NCDC continuing to approve more curricula for local languages and ensuring they are taught at all levels as we build for the future for God and my country. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gumoshabe. Another round of applause for Dr. Gumoshabe. Baba Chabazinga, Nendera Kuloperanti for Abasoga Makerere. We are very grateful for the leadership of our Vice Chancellor, Professor Nawangwe, for creating the environment in which we thrive. The senior management, and of course, the leadership of our Principal, Associate Professor Nkabara. So, tulibasanufu, webale kuida, tusagambiza. Ladies and gentlemen, we are celebrating Mother Language Day. We have a theme, Language Matters, harnessing technology to document and develop Uganda's indigenous languages. We have a guest speaker, Dr. Shale Byakutaga. At this moment, I want to invite our professor, our own Professor Oswald Ndolwaleero, to step forward and in a few minutes introduce and invite our guest speaker. Professor Ndolwaleero.
The guest of honor, Your Majesty, Isebantu William Gabula Nadiope IV, the Chabazinga of Obusoga Kingdom, the Minister of State for Gender, Culture, Honorable Peace Mutuzo, Permanent Secretary of Gender, Labor and Social Development, the Vice Chancellor of Makerere University, other government officials present here, fellow academicians, students, lovers of language, of mother languages, ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure to introduce my colleague and friend, Shale Byakutaga, Shale Kathe Byakutaga Aboli. Those are her full names. Shale is a writer, in both English and Runyoro at all levels. She writes for primary school children. She also writes poetry and novels for secondary schools, and she also writes for institutions of higher learning. This Friday we are going to launch one of the books where Shale has written, has contributed on culture with the Banyakitara, and she has written many other books. She is a researcher, especially on names and naming. She is a community leader and a consultant on languages and culture. Among other things, she translated the Song of Lawino by Kotpitek to Runyoro. She translated Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, again into Runyoro. She also translated Austin Bukenya's The Bride into Runyoro. For her work experience, we met here in Makerere University in the late 90s when she was an assistant lecturer here, a very brilliant and young scholar, brilliant, beautiful and young, which she has remained, by the way. I remember she was so brilliant that she was still having her master's only, and when she applied to become a senior lecturer, the university did not hesitate to make her a senior lecturer, together with those who had PhDs at the time. And she has remained being a brilliant person up to now. Later on, she left the university and went to work as a training director for the US Peace Corps, where she stayed for quite some time. She's one, as you heard, she's one of the founders or of the initiators of Runyakitara language here at the university. And remember, it was with her that we initiated the teaching of Runyakitara here, together with the Associate Professor Edith Natukunda Togbo, I don't know whether she's here today, and Professor Muranga, who says hello to you, couldn't be here, but he's at Kawale University with me. She is also currently a proprietor of a secondary school in Chankwanzi, where she teaches, among other subjects, she teaches Runyoro. Occasionally, she also teaches young people Runyoro, a language she loves very much. So that is the Shale Yakutaga who is going to talk to us today, and I'm glad to introduce her. Please, Shale, come forward.
Thank you, Professor Olwaleero, for such a generous introduction. I'm extremely delighted to be here. Our guest of honor, Your Majesty, the Chabazinga of Obusoga, the Prime Minister of Obusoga, the Vice Chancellor, the representatives from the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, all protocol observed. I beg your pardon for not going through each and every protocol, because I've been asked to summarize my presentation for 10 minutes. Some of you will get to read the speech, the keynote address that I was going to give. So I'll try to summarize. I I begin by thanking the organizers, because it's an honor to be here today to talk about something that I hold very dear to my heart. Language has been part and parcel of me, not by default, but because I have had a number of things that I've worked in. Today, I'm seeing that the main theme is languages matter, harnessing technology to document and develop Uganda's indigenous languages. If something is not written, if something is not recorded, there is a saying that which says, then it didn't happen. So if we do not record, if we do not write, if we do not put down our languages, then they will disappear. I share an experience of when I was doing my master's about 30-some years ago in Canada, where one language, Nitnat, had only 50 speakers who were above 60. Today, as we talk, only 7 are remaining. And one of my professors, Dr. Tom Hess, may his soul rest in peace, every holiday he would run to record the language because the speakers were dying. And today it's only 7 who are remaining. So what does that teach us? The appeal that we put our languages down, we write them, and we use the modern technology to ensure that they have gone and down in record. Otherwise, we'll find that we have no languages. The power and value of indigenous languages. We know that language is an embodiment of culture. It is through language that we conceptualize the world, construct our societies, express our humanity. We know that every language encodes unique ways of perceiving reality, solving problems, and relating to others. And our languages contain wisdom, the wisdom of our ancestors, through stories, songs, proverbs, rituals, and other philosophies. All these shape our communities for centuries. We do know that here in Uganda, we have such a rich culture. We have a diversity of languages. I think we have about 60 or 65 languages, but it's unfortunate that only a few are recorded, and that's where we are being challenged to have this language put in writing. I thank the Ministry of Education, Gender and Sports, and the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development for trying their level best to see that our languages are harnessed, our languages are preserved through the different efforts they are making. These languages are being taught at primary schools, and I know the National Curriculum Development Center is working round the clock to ensure that these languages are taught up to P4, and they are trying to prepare them for having to be tested even at primary level. For secondary and at university, we are happy that that is happening. I will jump to this question that I first commend the Makerere University for being a great institute. It's always leading, and as Dr. Gumoshabe gave you in his speech, he gave you the history, how far we've come. So, with all those efforts put in place, we still ask ourselves, how can we leverage the lessons from Makereri's experience to support the revitalization of all Ugandan languages, especially those that are most at risk? How do we ensure that the fruits of research and learning are accessible beyond the university gates, reaching communities across the nation? When I say beyond the university gates, I challenge us at Makerere University and other higher institutions of learning that we need to go down to the grassroots. That's where we are going to find the people who are motivated to learn language, who are motivated to speak their mother tongue, those people who want to see that their culture, their heritage is happening. We need to learn from them, much as they may not be as advantaged as others. Now, we know that out there is a technology gap, and we are facing digital extinction. If we do not put into place efforts to keep these languages recorded, we are seeing that the African languages are on that verge, I would say, of technological exclusion. So, ladies and gentlemen, I appeal that we do not leave this, what we are talking about, just as a sentiment, or as lip service. Because where languages may survive on the lips of elders, they may not survive in the digital world, where so much of modern life is unfolding. We know that now the smartphone is being used, and it is helping the world around us. We need to harness technology for language development and documentation. So a few examples are that we can have digital dictionaries, we can have language learning apps, we can have automated translation and speech tools, and the social media. We can use it to digitize our languages. I appeal to the policy makers at all fronts to work hand in hand with the different stakeholders so that we are able to take our languages a step ahead. In closing, I appeal to you all to dream boldly, to imagine a Uganda where every child can read, can write, and create in their mother language, or mother tongue as it has been called, where our languages can be present in every classroom, every smartphone, every home. To imagine a nation where diversity is not a barrier, but a bridge, a source of strength, innovation, and unity. Let us build that Uganda together. And I thank you so much. May this International Mother Language Day inspire us all. And I thank and ask that having Lusoga being taken on at university and being launched today, we celebrate with His Majesty, the Kyabazinga. Thank you very much.
We'll continue clapping as she gets to her seat, until she gets to her seat. Thank you so much, Dr. Shiri Yakutaga. Professor Ndolulire, Dr. Shiri Yakutaga, Professor Walusimbi, Professor Muranga, and others are the brain behind the teaching of languages in the last century of Makerere University's existence. And they made every effort to support every language that came on board, whether it was none of their indigenous or mother languages. They made sure that they built capacity of students to learn and be mentored to teach in those languages. So it's no wonder that we have them here. Banamdongero Obugalo. Mukaseera kano mwidakundikiriza twire eri abaana baife betusomesa wano e Makerere. Baaba, tulina abaana abali kwiga okubaako ne bakirajja okwolesa nga bana abavubuka n'abawala baliwa banamwidde balina ekitontome oba ekikekete kye bajja okupafominga mwangweku obudakika bwalimu buli kujja. Okay. Abakulemberemu ni Balidawa Biziraki Trevor, akola business administration. Omwana aizeeku ni Bazani Marion Victor, Bachelor of Education. Omulenzi wokusatu ni Balidawa Trevor, Bachelor of Laws. Asembeyo omuwala ni Karere Ruth, Bachelor of Agriculture and Extension.
n'olubangula amatu gaife n'oluzibula amaiso gaife luno mwe tulina lulembeerere
Ekikeketo kino kyawandiikibwa Profesa Susan Kiguli. Profesa Susan Kiguli yemerera Baaba Akumogeku. Profesa Susan Kiguli ali international ino ezira award gyatafunye akafuna award ibiri donkadit. Esooka ya Nobel Peace Prize. Eyokubiri ni Kyabazinga Award. Yawandiika ekikeketo kino mu Luzungu nga title is Language is a Mirror. Dr. Merit Kabugo yakivunula mu Luganda. Dr. Merit Kabugo aboneka azirawo. Then twakiza mu Lusoga. Omusomesa waffe Olusoga omulala yenkaali wano, Madam Rebecca Masabe yemerera ku Baaba Funvugha, the only lecturer of Lusoga so far that we have. We are just started, but we will get there. We have a student who's going to perform the poem in English. The stage is yours.
Language is a mirror. Hearing, listening, and speaking this language has, for me, become a walk and tour through the trails in my brain and other people's brains. Hearing, listening, and speaking this language has, for me, become a walk and tour through the trails in my brain and other people's brains. This language is a reflector of my worldview, from which I see my face and posture, by which I am able to accept and trust the story of my heritage. Hence, I rise with vigor and refuse to be a shadow of other people, because this language provides for me a platform to stand up among all nations, clinging to it like a protector backcloth to save me from straying and roaming about. This language upholds and supports me to harvest words by which I am able to understand the rotation of the earth. This language is my trusted senate, where I oppose those who table pointless motions to disturb our peace and understanding. This language is my medium of thought. It is also the couch for my mastery of vocabulary. Through this language, we are able to grow and become free. Through this language, our ears get sharpened, our eyes get opened. Through this language, we analyze the state of this nation. Language is a mirror. Language is a mirror. Through this language, we analyze the state of this nation. Through this language, we analyze the state of the nation. Through this language, we analyze the state of this nation.
Katuteteganye mwempeereza eno tupeeku ne bye tukutuusaako.